I'm going to show you the professional technique on how to wash a window. The reasons professionals don't like to use that pull method is because it'll leave a small streak behind. No matter how careful you are, it tends to leave a streak behind. The way I'm going to you is called the S method. People have different names for it. I like to call it the S method because you're going to make an S motion with your hands. I like to wipe the top edge and my side edge with a dry towel. I'm going to stick my squeegee at an angle to the glass. The reason I do that is so that I have room to turn. I set my squeegee anywhere on the glass. Doesn't matter if it's down here. I like to set it up toward the top. I'm going to push that edge into the corner. And I'm going to turn my wrist and pull straight across the top edge of that glass till I get about 3/4 of the way across the top, and then I'm going to turn my wrist and start dig that edge right into the corner, pull it straight down, and bend my wrist again, coming back up to this area, making an S motion back and forth on the glass. Slowly turning my wrist when I get to that corner. You want to take your time and just do this slow till you get it down. Just slowly moving back and forth across the glass. Now, let's say I just missed a whole bunch of water right there. That's fine. You can come back up and grab that. And the whole idea of this technique is that the squeegee never leaves the glass, so it never has a chance to leave a streak behind. Slowly pulling back and forth, and then your last pull getting to again, dropping that edge. Right, you want to dig those edges right into or dig the edge of the squeegee right to the edge of the frame. Pull across right to the edge of your glass.
I'm here to give you a quick tutorial on fanning a double hung window. Like always, you want to soap up your window first, get any of that loose debris off. I like to start on the right side of the window, gently going up to the corner, bringing it across to the left corner, slowly coming back and forth, hitting the side each time, slowly pushing the water down, and wiping it clean from the glass. I can show you again, faster, slower. Corner, side, back and forth, nice and gentle, wiping all the water from the glass.
The next thing we're going to do is we're at the window, we're getting ready to wash it. One of the things you want to have with you if you're at home is I use a little paintbrush. A little broom will work as well. This is really handy. What we want to do is clean out all the dirt from the tracks before we get the window wet and make everything muddy in there. So I just take my brush, go along knock down any spider webs or dust that might be in the seals, and I brush all that out of my tracks. I can come back with a broom and sweep this out later. Another thing you can do, if you have it, is a little handheld vacuum. Works great. Just come in and vacuum out these tracks. Open your window. Sweep all that out to the outside. Grab whatever you can with the brush, with your towel, as well as all this out of your tracks. And that's why a little brush works great, because it gets in those little corners where you normally want to be able to get. We're going to talk about getting your sponge wet to wash the windows in someone's house here. Now, you want to be mindful that you're in someone's house. You don't want to keep your bucket over their carpet. If you can find tile floor like I'm on now, as opposed to someone's carpet, that just shows good etiquette, especially in your own home. You don't want to slop around dirty water on your white rug. And then when you do dip your sponge, like I say, you don't need a whole lot of water. You just need enough to get your window wet. So once I've dipped my sponge, I lightly take my hand over the sponge and remove a lot of that excess water so that I'm not carrying a lot of water, so I'm not dripping everywhere I go with my sponge. As you can see, my sponge is wet, but it's not dripping wet, and I'm not making a mess everywhere I go. And like I say, having two wands is helpful. I have the smaller one, and inside this is helpful because you're not using as much water on the glass. And we're here at a window that has a lot of hard water on it. We've already washed the window, and this is what's left on the window. It's the hard water. It's almost white in color. And we've explained the different things you can use. I got this from a cleaning supply store, janitorial supply. It's called Lime Buster. I like to apply this. You got to be careful though where you drop this. You don't want to drip it on stone. You don't want to drip it on aluminum because it's sulfuric acid and has a tendency to etch whatever it touches. So you want to be careful using this stuff. I have a technique to show you that's really helpful for me. This is an old sponge that I have. It's kind of wore out because if you use one of your newer sponges, it'll quickly wear out your sponge. So I've used an old one. This just has this convenient flip cap, and I drip it right over my sponge like that, and then I apply it to the window. The more hard water you have, you might have to do this application 2 or 3 times. Again, I'm just dripping it over the top of my sponge and applying it to the window. I like to let that. Now, the next step, if it's really bad, you can take your razor blade, as long as the window's not tempered, and scrape that hard water right off the glass. And I want to talk to you a minute about French panes. French panes are really tricky sometimes. There's a couple things that'll make them a lot easier for you if you go about washing them. The first thing is that French panes are always going to be tempered, so you can never take a razor blade to French pane glass. It'll scratch them. So you always want to use your steel wool. One technique that I do is just use my steel wool to clean the glass. I can just take my steel wool and rub it out. If it's not filthy dirty, you can just stay and rub it out with the steel wool. But if they are very dirty and dusty and you're going to need to get in there and clean them, again, it's great to have a squeegee that you can interchange your blades on. They make 2 different types. This one has 7 or 8 different types of sizes I can put on. I just snap it out. Grab my little trusty, my little small one. It's a little 4-incher. Snap it in there, and then I'm ready to use this squeegee to wash the glass. Again, I'm taking this and careful not to drip everywhere. Get my window wet. I like to come in there and wipe the top edge of the sliding top edge. And then I like to use just the pull method and to pull straight down. On the glass. If you want to get fancy, you can even do the swirl method in there. But it's easier just to do the pull method down. Again, wipe the top edge of that. I'm going to show you how to wash the window using a ladder. We're going to just walk straight up your ladder. I have this screen to contend with. It's spring loaded. So I'm going to push to the side. I have my little little knife here. I'm going to the edge of that screen, pop that out. If it doesn't come out easy on the bottom, I'll find a point somewhere on where it does. Got my top to come out. Pull that screen out. This is a great little trick. You don't have to keep the screen in front of you. You can just put it behind you. I just put it between the two rungs of the ladder, and it holds itself there. That way you don't have to deal with the screen while you're working with the window. Get your window wet. Again, I like to dry the top edge so it doesn't drip on me after I've come back down with the squeegee. Grab my squeegee, get that angle across the top, down the side, do the S method. That way it doesn't leave any streaks behind. Switch hands, it helps to be ambidextrous. You're going to need term to practice that S method, but you'll get it down. Dry any edges. Again, take a look from different angles, make sure you didn't miss anything. Don't forget about your screen behind you. Put the edges in first, the springs.